that's not my intent at all. 12:01. And Mayor, if you would call a special board meeting, would you call a roll, please?
Okay, Mr. Lopez,
Here.
Mr. Kirby,
Here.
Mr. Wright,
Here.
Ms. Harrington, here, and Mr. Hennis.
Here. Okay, so everybody is here today. We're down to item B, which is personnel. And if we could, Dr. Beebe, would you go ahead and kind of describe what we're up to here today, please?
Absolutely. Member Hennis, President Hennis, members of the board. Since we had a meeting, we went ahead and added some personnel onto this meeting so we could move forward with some new teachers. We've had the opportunity to interview and hire a number of teachers that we are knowingly need to replace teachers that are leaving for next year. So this is that group. And we are I'm ecstatic about the caliber of teachers that we're getting to come to work here.
Hold on just a second. Taylor's having a hard time hearing, so.
You want to bring this phone over?
Yeah, why not? Hold on just a minute.
Leave it here by me.
I'm gonna leave it over here by you since you'll be doing most of the explanations.
All right.
There we go.
Okay. You're right. We'll get you in here. When you're talking, I'll use my microphone to amplify you. So do you need, President Hennis, did you need any more?
I think Taylor, if we could up the volume just a shade, would be good.
Okay,
Mayor, you're very clear, so that's good.
okay, so Dr. Beebe, will you put, he's gonna put Taylor up to
Taylor, we're gonna do a test.
microphone.
Can you just speak and see if they can hear you?
Hello?
Put him farther up to your,
Is that better?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. And Jack here?
okay. Can Jack, can you hear him?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Okay.
It's faint, but not faint, but it's not as loud. All right.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay, so
He's called for motion.
are you gonna call for a motion in a second, Jack?
I think what we were going to do is have Dr. Beebe go ahead and kind of describe what is in his list, and specifically on some of them that had been reclassified. If you would go ahead and just kind of give an explanation of why and what the historic or what the thought was on the district and what has been trying to be accomplished for a while. And somebody just to address some of those questions.
Absolutely. So to go into that, and again, I'll just try to give you a little brief history lesson of what I encountered when I came to work as a superintendent 3 years ago. When I got here, our administrative teams on our campuses were all over the place. There was very few similarities between roles of people and what function they serve to kind of create their own leadership teams, and people were brought in and do that. So I spent the last 3 years trying to bring some continuity to our districts, to our district, and to try to get some similarities to that, and at the same time to try to also be fiscally responsible for our district. And we've always had to deal with higher administrative costs and do some of those things for non-teaching positions. So this year, because we now have 2 assistant principals, an athletic director, and a principal on each campus, we have accomplished that piece as far as the key administrators. What we have not accomplished yet is some of the support staff that go under that. And so one of the things, I'll just give you an example of kind of what was some of the inequity as far as I'm concerned and what we're thinking. Our athletic directors were both 10.5-month employees, or 10-month employees. Yet 2 people who they are the direct supervisor for and oversee are the equipment manager and the athletic director's assistant. Those 2 positions were 12 months. So your supervisor is not around for a month and a half while you're working. And again, so we looked at some of those things. And what I've tried to do here is match the administrator and the assistant to be the same, so that one is not working without the other. The other thing we looked at is our bookstore managers. Our bookstore does not need to be open 12 months out of the year, 5 days a week. Everybody needs some downtime, and we need to do that. So again, the most important time is that we can be open for at least 2 weeks prior to kids coming and teachers getting back. We can also be open for 2 weeks after kids coming and kids being back. So that's the rationale there. Our receptionist, again, we don't have kids in school for 3 months. And so it's not, while our district, our school offices and our district offices open, it's not necessarily to have somebody there all the time. Besides that, each school has somebody who handles attendance. And that attendance person is also the backup to the receptionist. So the attendance person, because of enrollments and kids that are enrolling and disenrolling all summer long, they are 12-month employees and can fill in as the receptionist when the receptionist is not there. So that was the reason for that. The other one is our 2 assistant principals for discipline. Not a lot of discipline and not a lot of kids getting in trouble over the summer. And so once we've done our work to get the handbook ready for the next year, we've looked at our policies, there's a little less need, and I say, for that group. And so again, reducing them to 11 months from 12 months, and then also their assistants. And then again, I've already talked about the equipment managers matching the athletic director, and their assistants matching the athletic director. The only reclassification from 10 to 12 is Adriana Favela, and that's because she serves the same role in attendance as another employee at Union, and so that's just to make that an equitable person so that both campuses are functioning the same. And then the rationale for taking our athletic directors from 10 to 11 is principals are constantly trying to have to flex time and do some different things to meet their needs, because we always, typical times when we're closed, over our 2 week, now will be 2 week fall break, 2 week winter break, 2 week spring break, there are athletics going on that whole time. So it's not possible for them to not work. And so to be equitable to them and not try to figure out how to make up time owed, moving them to 11 months will accomplish that. So, by doing this, I can finally say as a superintendent that we would have leadership teams and leadership positions at both schools that will be identical and equitable. And at the same time, it is helping us to reduce some, helping to be a little more fiscally responsible with our administrative costs. So that's
one other thing for clarification is each of the individuals who, if they've been from 12 months to 11 months, and vice versa, or Brad brought up, each of these is with the individual site principals has been discussed and brought up in there, and so everybody's clear of what's going on there.
Yeah, so to answer your question, President Hennis, yes, those conversations happen. I met with Mary Ann this morning, first thing, and so she's working with each individual employee and at their current rate of pay, being able to tell them what the difference might look like. However, we haven't finished IBN, and in the event that we do agree, or you as a board do agree to give any type of increase to our employee groups, they would also get that increase. So it's not going to be as big a cut as we might think. The other thing that I didn't bring up that I need to bring up now is if they were 12-month employees, they have the ability to earn vacation time. We are not taking that vacation time away from them. They will be able to keep it on the books and use it at their principal's discretion. They've earned it. We're not taking it away, not buying them out. They'll be able to keep it on the books and use it over the years as needed or as they see fit. Should they leave our district at that point in time, then we have to pay it out.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions for Dr. Beebe from the rest of the board?
Hey, put your microphone and turn it on over the phone so that.
I don't know that I can give you a complete ballpark figure because each classification, for instance, it's all also going to depend on how much, the length of time they've been in our district and everything else. Mary Ann's sitting right here. do we have anything, I don't know if we even have a for sure ballpark.
I have a spreadsheet that I've worked on, but
Okay.
it's, I mean, like you said, hourly people are kind of all over the place because it's based on their hourly wage.
Right.
I guess the essence is they're going from 261 days a year to 234 days of working, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, Taylor, to answer your question, we really don't have a ball, because again, depending on how long they've been here, whether they're hourly, even with our certified assistant principals, one's brand new, one's been here, for a while. So the difference is they're going down from 261 days of work to 234 days of work. So, and then they won't earn vacation time any longer, but they will have set prescribed times off when they do not have to be at work and can take, some extended vacation time should they so choose, or not have to pay for childcare for a few weeks or things like that.
Have all of these personnel already signed contracts?
No, remember, right, the reason I'm bringing this to you now is I don't believe it's fair to make changes and after contracts have been signed. So it's coming to you now because we were getting ready to issue contracts and want everybody who's going to sign a contract to know what they're signing on for.
Is the potential for any of this to change regarding the IBM process?
No, because this is, the only thing that would change is if whatever comes out of this and what monetary increase we might give all employee groups. This is not a negotiable, this is an operations decision. It's not something that's negotiable within IBM. It's an operational decision to be more fiscally responsible with our administrative costs in our district.
Any other questions for Dr. Beebe or Mary Ann? All right, hearing none. Need a motion to approve the personnel as recommended by Dr. Beebe.
I will make that motion to approve the personnel recommended by Dr. Beebe.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Mary, if you call for the vote, please, or call the vote.
Mr. Wright,
No.
Mrs. Harrington,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Kirby,
Yes.
and Mr. Hennis.
Yes. Okay, we are down to item C, which is employee contract language. And I think all of us have that language in there. Mary Ann, Dr. Beebe, do you want to just explain? This has to do with the invest in education funding bill 208. Is that 208?
This is Mary Ann speaking. Yes, our attorneys have looked at all of our contracts and have rewritten them in accordance with Proposition 208 so that they match up with the Invest for Education. Otherwise, there were no changes or very basic changes other than dates and years.
Okay, just for clarification, if this money comes through, it's kind of like 301 money. This money is not paid ahead of having it in your pocket. We have to have it physically in the district bank accounts before this money can be expended out, correct, or passed out?
Yes, my understanding is that the 208 money, we're not receiving it next year. According to Gina Salazar, we won't be receiving it for another year. But we do want to make sure we have language in there just in case something does happen or if something is given to us during this contract year. And then it'll be a governing board and superintendent decision how and what is dispersed.
And that's the same thing I'm hearing from WMAG, from the other groups, is that we yes, it's going to be in our coffers before we spend it. But we're not anticipating getting it next year. But in case, the language will support that, should we?
Okay, hopefully, and hopefully the governor's lawsuit against and the rest of the Republican crew's lawsuit goes down. to allow us to go ahead and do this. So are there any other questions or discussions about the additional language to be added to the 2021, 2022 employee contracts? No. All right, call for the vote on the addition to the,
Actually, we need a motion and a second first, Mr. Hennis.
yeah, sorry about that. I was reading ahead of myself. Yeah, can I get a motion?
I move, we accept this. I move,
I have
we
a
accept
motion
this.
by Mr. Wright. Can I get a second, please?
I'll second.
And a second by Joe. Is there any other discussion? Okay, Mary, would you call for the vote, please?
Mr. Wright,
Yes,
Mrs. Harrington,
Yes.
Mr. Hennis,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
and Mr. Kirby.
All right, we're down to item number D, which is the insurance benefit. Obviously you have Mary, you have Mary Ann there and Dr. Beebe, do you want to go ahead and walk us through a little bit of what we're looking at here for the RFP for insurance?
I would be glad to, President Hennis, members of the governing board. Generally, our practice has been, the previous years that I've been here, is I bring all recommendations from IBN to you at one time. However, one of the things that was very quickly agreed upon in both employee groups this year was the insurance. Both groups have asked that we stay with Kairos, which is now going to United Health, and that we keep the Healthiest You package. That was across both boards, across both groups. That was kind of the takeaway. So we are ready to move, having had a chance to consult with you as a board, and understanding that it was your desire as well as mine to continue to try to pay employees insurance as we're moving into this year or looking towards that. I wanted to bring this to you as our selection, because we now know that and we don't have to wait until April.
Okay, and I only have one question, maybe just for clarification. Under number 1 medical plan, on bullet number 4, where it has a total amount of $195,888. This is an increase of $170,000, $280 to the district. And then it says with the remaining $25,608 paid by dependent contribution. That's for members that choose to add family, et cetera, for the dependent contribution. Is that correct?
That is correct. We're only talking about paying for employees' insurance, and then they have to pay, each employee pays for their benefits.
Okay, and then the $172.80 is what the district is going to be picking up additionally this year for insurance for all staff members?
That is correct. It's about an 8% increase over last year.
8%. Any questions, discussions on the insurance benefits as presented? No. Okay, hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the insurance benefit as presented today?
so moved.
Motion by Mr. Wright, and a second by Joe? Yes. Okay, any other discussion? Go ahead, Mary, ask for the roll call vote.
Okay, Mr. Wright,
Yes,
Mrs. Harrington,
Yes.
Mr. Hennis,
Yes.
Mr. Kirby, and Mr. Lopez.
Yes. All right, the motion passes. There being no further business to come before the board, Mary, can we just adjourn?
I need a
Do we need a
motion, I
motion?
need a motion and a second.
I move to adjourn.
Well, a motion and a second to that?
Second.
Right here, Mr. Holden.
All in favor?
Okay. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
All right, you too.
Bye.